Okay. All right. I'm Monica Rasco, and this is my granddaughter, Abby Adams, my co-author. And I'm so happy you all are here today and to join us. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through the book because it's really short. We're going to share the screen and read through the book. And then I'll tell you about our process. Hi, Susan, of writing the book. And then I'll, talk about how we found an illustrator and the publisher and stuff. And then questions, any questions that we'll take any questions. So Abby, would you like to, she's going to share, she's going to be my tech person. So right here is our cover, which is the beginning of what you have to think about, because the back and the front and the spine label, which I was really, because I shelved so many children's books over the 12 years I worked at the library, I was really concerned. I even made them go back and redo I made them go back and redo the spine label because I wanted it to read a certain way. And another decision you have to make is where are you going to put your author's bios and your illustrator's bio. And I did it on the back because I thought that it would be read more that way. It's just as simple as that. I thought that it would be noticed by people more that way. So we'll move over here and start. Can you move right over here and start? We'll start reading yeah. Okay. So this is, then the other thing is, do you want to write a dedication? So I wrote a dedication and then the illustrator wrote a dedication. So we're going to go to the next page. And that's a decision of where you want to put that page to when you get it. And then this is the copyright page. And, that was a whole nother thing. All of a sudden I had to learn how to write a copyright page. So my sister-in-law, one of my sister-in-laws had published a book and she helped me, and I watched, everything has a video on it and everything. You can go to Google and download things. So that's basically what I did. I was careful. One of the videos I watched said, if you're doing a children's books, you want as many pictures everywhere as you can get. So that's why I put the fox right there. I had the fox put right there. So this is the title page right there. Goodnight, Wimberley, a bedtime story for a sleepy little town by Monica Rasco and Abby Adams, and illustrated by Bethsaida Jacobson. So, in a great green valley where a creek meets a river, there is a place called Wimberley. A magical place where you may see 3 little deer lying so near, and 2 swimming holes, and perhaps a foxhole, and a creek in a square, and a leaning pear, dark starry nights with stars so bright, with lightning bugs and gentle hugs. Good night, Wimberley, the sun is shining dimly. Good night, Square, and all the shops there. Good night, Mount Baldy. Good night, Emily Ann. Good night, Blue Hole. Good night, Jacob's Well, with deep, deep waters in the dell. Good night, Blanco River, and the water that makes me shiver. Good night, Cypress Creek. Now it's time to go to sleep. Good night, Wimberley. Let's go to the next page. And then I had looked at a lot of good night books. There's so many, like Good Night Austin, Good Night Colorado, Good Night Every City. And the one thing I liked about Good Night Austin was it had a little blurb about every little place. So I chose to put that in the end because I think that it's nice when you're reading a simple picture book. Sometimes there's a child that's more interested in something and you have a little bit of information there. So that's it. That's the book. You want to go back to the screen?
Stop sharing.
Yeah. So that's the book. So how it came about for us is I had thought of writing this book when I was shelving all the goodnight books one day. And I had this idea for a long time, but then I decided to, once I retired, and I had the first line in my head for a long time: in a great green valley where a creek meets a river, there is a place called Wimberley. And so when I retired and I was sitting there saying, okay, now I've got to do this. And I actually had started to make up a book here. I took some paper and put it out. And Abby came over. She was about 12 then. And she came over, and it was really perfect because we started doing it together. And I would have never been able to have, it just wouldn't have been done, because this made it fun to do it together. And Abby, the sun is shining dimly is Abby's line. That was one of her lines. And so we started thinking of places. I found this the other day. I just had little things written and some ideas written in this first one. So we did that. We had that done. And then we actually made up a dummy book, and we just sketched some ideas in it. Like some of the illustrations are taken from our ideas, and some of it are not from our ideas. It's just sketched out a little bit. But we wanted to see how the pages and the lines would fit on the pages and envision how it would look that way. So we did that, and then it sat there for about 6 months or so. I thought, I wish I had the skill. I could see it in my head, but I don't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. So I ran into, at HEB, over the grocery carts, I ran into Seda Jacobson, who used to be a junior volunteer of mine. And I knew she was really working on an artist. She had painted a backdrop of a puppet show for us one summer. And I said, Seda, are you still interested? Are you still doing art? Would you be interested in illustrating this book idea I have? And she said, yes. And so we got together, and she decided to do it. Now, this took a long time, because if you look at her illustrations, they have so much detail. And I know she went through a period where she thought, why am I doing this? and I even offered her to, you can stop. This is a huge project, because of the way she did all those illustrations. But then she decided, no, she was going to finish them. So she brought them over, spread them all out on my dining room table. And I went, oh my gosh, now I have to figure out what to do. And so that was a little bit nerve-wracking. I had the opportunity to go to a self-publishing class at the library at that time. Now, they were talking more about publishing a print, a print book with not so many illustrations like mine. And so, but it helped me move on. And, I got 3 different bids. I went to 3 different places. One was really, it was more like, it was cheesy. They sent me a book, and it was cheesy. And the person I talked to on the phone didn't seem very on top of things. I think it was like she was packing for a trip and hardly talking to me. Then I wrote the person who did Goodnight Austin, and I wrote I got a quote from their publishing company, because I thought, wouldn't it be nice to use somebody locally? But it was like $9,000 to do 500. And that was just like, whoa. And so then I went online and I just Googled, who are good illustrators for book, for books, for children's books, and Book Baby came up. And the reason I chose this mostly is because the representative was so wonderful. He just guided me through every step of the way. I mean, he returned my phone calls usually within an hour, but always within a day. All my little scary, like, oh my gosh, about this, he talked me through it. And then the pandemic, when we're finally to our final edits, it's 2 weeks into the pandemic, and I'm like, should I do this? But he encouraged me to do it, to move on and do it. So they're great. That was the best. I really have liked using them. There's other advantages that we can talk about if you're interested, but that was the biggest part was just, getting the books. And it was pretty exciting. And I have to say, during such a dark time, it turned out to be a little light that was wonderful throughout the pandemic. So, are there any questions?
I'm only sorry I didn't invite my grandchildren.
Do you have plans to maybe write something else?
Yeah. I don't really think so. I mean, there's ideas, but there is a lot. This is a very expensive, and I'm going to tell you, I spent almost $6,000 up front.
Okay.
Because first we did the if you can do InDesign yourself, you can save the formatting. And my daughter Christina, who's actually here, she did a lot of the formatting before it just it was hard for her to do it with her job and her kids. And so that's expensive. And if you have any extra edits, they charge you every single time. So, if you can do your own formatting, that would save over like $1,500 right there. Then you order a proof book, and that's I think it was $39 for the proof book. And then I ordered 100. When I ordered 100, I looked back and they were $9.25 a copy when I ordered 100, selling them for $14.95. So that's very, very low, a very low profit there. Typically, half of your money goes, you share your profit with your illustrator, 50% there. So then after I ordered the first 100, we ordered 500 more. I have 10 of those, 11. I counted 11 of them coming left. I counted them this morning, have 11 of those left, but I have 500, I ordered 500 more that are going to should be delivered today. I know that's a little nerve wracking because it's going to take a lot longer to sell those 500. But if I don't order them at 500 and get them for $7 a copy, it's hardly worth even doing it. So, for a book like mine or ours that is only going to sell locally here in Wimberley, you really can't make money. Now, if you have a theme that could sell, it could sell nationally, that's different, because it's one thing about this book baby is they have their own bookshop, and they will sell it. If people order it online, we get half the profit. We get $7.48 or something every time they sell one online. So that's really a good deal, but there's just not many people for the book that we are selling. It's kind of like they've been to Wimberley and they go, oh, that's so cute, I want to buy it. There's not many people that are going to go online and buy our book. But if you have a book that you could sell nationally, then you have a lot better chance. And then it would be worth maybe selling on Amazon too. Amazon costs $299, I believe, just to have your book put on their platform. And you don't make as much when you do that. So that's I knew this in the beginning when I decided to write this book, because when I was a children's librarian, people would come in and they would say, oh, is there a book that shows the fish in the Blanco River? Or is there a book about, they wanted very specific children's books, but that's why they don't have them, because there's no profit in them. They have to be sold nationally before you can make any money doing it. but
Is
it's
there
still,
any-
go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, is there any relationship between Bookshop and BookBaby? Bookshop, the one, the alternative to Amazon?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'd have to look at that
I
closer.
wonder. What I've heard is that they sort of allow independent booksellers to aggregate and get the kind of shipping discounts that Amazon does. So, I mean, if you're looking for a place to
Yeah. I
offload
mean,
500 books.
yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there's more options than I looked into. With BookBaby, like, if like Walmart picks up your book or a big seller, that they'll sell them, they go directly to them. You don't have to go through you at all. They'll deliver them right to large
Fulfillment.
quantities like that. But I haven't had that problem, so I haven't investigated it.
Well, and I just second Carolyn's question. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Who knows?
So Monica, when things get more opened up, we should have like a book talk, a book signing at the library.
That'd be wonderful. But Suzanne, with your idea, that is something that if it's presented well, that could sell more nationally, because it's a theme. She's talking about her two grandmas that are so different and the little girl trying to bring that together. That's a theme that would capture a child's imagination and what they're thinking about. And
Well,
wait, you're muted now.
sorry, I keep pushing the wrong button. The ideas, and I'm sure you found this too, the ideas come easily or fairly easily. I was also a librarian and was a children's librarian for a while, and then a high school librarian. So, I've read lots and lots and lots of children's books. And so there are ideas out there that come to you. So the idea, especially I have a precocious granddaughter in that creative way. And so it just, like you and Abby, it just kind of came up. What's hard, I've spent, a lot of time looking at all the different children's books and who published them and who were the illustrators. And that process is what's really difficult, just figuring out. And then they want you to send a manuscript with nothing. I think. I mean, it looks like applying for college is what it looks like. It's very challenging.
Right. And if you go that way, you have no control over the illustrations, I understand.
That would be fine with me.
Okay.
To be truthful, I can understand in your situation where you would want complete control, but actually I would love it if someone would come in and give those characters
Yeah.
life. That would be fun. And I don't really care what they end up looking like, because the ideas, I just think the ideas would hold, and somebody would come up with really, really cute grandmothers, I'm sure.
So Monica, you said that 50% goes to the illustrator. I didn't realize that much. Has Best Theta been happy about that?
Yeah, but, we really haven't made much profit. We haven't made much profit yet, and it rightfully so, because if you look at her drawings, they took a long time to do. So it's I think it's a very fair split. I mean, a good illustrator brings the text to life, and especially in a children's books. I mean, if you've read a lot of picture books, the expressions of the characters back and forth, and a good illustrator tucks little funny things in pages and stuff, and carry, because when you're reading to preschoolers, you have to carry the story visually and not just with the words. So yeah, the illustrator is, I think, extremely important in a picture book too.
And Monica, I Hi there.
Hi,
I want to
Monica.
tell you that you inspired me because, of course, I write memoirs, you know, like the one I presented at the library was Morning Musings, Creating My Life One Page at a Time. But at the same time, I wrote my first children's book because I had a grandbaby. And so I didn't want it to be like a good night series. So I made it a good morning, Joya. And Julia
Ah,
is her name. And so uh, it's all about the little creatures that appear out of my window, you know, the cardinal and the fox and whatever. And I had so much fun because I made it rhyme. I just had fun. And I wrote it initially in Spanish, then translated with my whole family into English. And I didn't know who was going to make the illustrations. So the other grandmother said, you know, I can kind of sketch birds and things. She made the most precious illustrations, but it took her such a long time. So I really know what you're talking about. And then I didn't go your route. She used a little website and a little company. I don't even know what it is. So we have the finished book, but now every time we need to order, it's like $27. It's all in colors. So I don't know if I could make it into, I don't know.
oh, so yeah, because it's only, it's sort of like a photo book that you might make or something, that kind of website. Yeah, so
I think so. I think so. And it looks precious. And I made a bilingual version. But yeah, it's gonna die there because who's gonna buy something for that price? Like what you paid initially for the proof.
right.
You know.
And if I had a different type of book, like my sister-in-law, she's a big gardener, and she had worked as a county extension agent. And so she wrote a book about gardening, and she sells on Amazon. And so she'll give a talk, and she'll only keep a inventory of about 25 books. So when she gives a talk, she can sell them and sign them, but the rest of them are online. So you just pay as you go. And that is something, for a lot of books you can do. I mean, it really has opened up the publishing industry, but for what we did, that's not really, we can't go that way, because I end up taking these books to the shops and selling them there, which takes out some of the profit there too. So, I mean, it's still been a lot of fun. I'm not going to look at it as a profit thing. If breaking even was a big, we've broken even, so that was a big that was a big deal.
I mean, that is fantastic. I don't even think I'm going to do that with my other book, even though it sells in Amazon, because like you say, it sells for $7 unless you sell the real thing, which is then, yeah. So yeah, but we do it because we love it. That's
it was fun. The other day I was pulling out all these unfinished projects, and I said, well, we finished one. There was one that was finished. So that's a good thing.
Thank you so much.
I have a question for Abby.
Yes.
Just how has this inspired you in terms of, did you have a change of vision for your life ahead, or do you want to write, or how did you, I don't know, how did this project affect you as a young person?
Well, I've always written like short stories, like since I was a kid. I mean, not good ones, but I've always like spent a lot of time writing, and I'm pretty creative, and I do a lot of art and stuff. So I feel like it just kind of connected with that, I guess. And I mean, we've definitely gotten a lot closer with it. And I think it's a great thing to have to like put on resumes and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm a published author.
Right.
It sounds really cool.
Has it confirmed you in terms of your writing? I mean, do you feel more confirmation after completing a project that you might pursue this, or at least continue trying to pursue it?
we'll see. I have no plans for it right now, but
Okay.
I would always, I don't know.
Be open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay open to it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Monica, now I know why, you know, those the children's authors who also illustrate. I know now why they do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because there's several of them that we know that that illustrate as well as write. So that's interesting. Now I kind of have an idea. Like maybe that's why they do that then.
Well, yeah, like Dr. Seuss. I mean, obviously he had it all in his head and how he wanted his characters and everything to look like. And so,
Tony DePaula.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them just have their own style of illustrating as well. So
Now, Carolyn, are you planning to make a book as well, or not really?
who?
You.
Me? God, no, I'm not a writer at all. I
Oh,
just like to listen to you guys.
I was going to say, I also thought, because I like to draw, I said, oh, why not? Let me give it a try. And I made this bunny, which ended up looking like a pig. And I said, no, there's no way. So it's very hard, unless you're very talented.
Yeah, you know, you have to start out really at a young age to develop that kind of talent, especially if you're showing action. You know, if you're showing action in that's what's really difficult. I would, you know, try to show characters in action. You'd have to study drawing for a lot of years before you got there. So I figured out I knew I couldn't do it, or we couldn't do it. So we had Say to do it. And I just felt that she really, her illustrations really captured Wimberley.
I
I was
agree.
very impressed. And the fact that after we had those all out on the kitchen table, you know, I drove to book club that night and I was turned off the bypass onto 3237, driving toward town. And it just was, the sun was setting and I was just like, she did it. She really did it. It was such a neat feeling.
Do you know what, as a library director, what I enjoyed about this was that I was getting a donation from a self-publisher that was really good because, you know, it doesn't always happen that way. And I'm not trying to be derogatory, but the quality was there. And I knew right away it was going to be good because of all the years you spent doing what you were doing. I knew that you would know how to write a children's book that would continue to keep their interest, you know. I just knew you would. So
well, thank you. Well, I did think about, you know, in the big, you know, I read so many of the Goodnight books and I kind of thought about what I liked the best, but I knew that there needed to be a setting. You know, we needed to have a mood. And that's why, you know, Abby and I started sitting here thinking about, you know, what makes us feel about Wimberley. And so I have to put magical because I love magical things. But, you know, I have to say this three little deer sitting so near it is a photograph I had taken from the deer in the backyard. And it was a photograph just sitting in the living room. We just looked around and saw that. But then when we get into this kind of like the dark starry nights and the lightning bugs, that's really a memory of Abby and mine, of her being little out there. But I felt that it kind of set the tone of the book because I needed to be gentle if it was a good night book. Like, you know, Goodnight Moon has just survived and survived because it touches children where in a certain place in there. And that's why it's read over and over and over again. It's so reassuring to children. So I had that in my mind when I went to write it, that it needed to be, you know, I've read enough books to kids that are just wiggling, and then other books where they get real quiet.
mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
And see, that's one reason, Suzanne, you have a good plot, because, you know, she has a conflict between her two grandmothers there. That's something that children a lot of times are trying to rectify in their minds, you know, so it catches them. If you can catch a developmental issue for a child.
Yeah, Suzanne, you should probably have Monica read your book and
No,
let her give you some input. You're muted.
I'm not getting the buttons today. I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be super.
Sorry, Monica, I don't know if you want that or not.
No.
But
I would
you,
be glad
Carolyn.
to. I would love to do it. And I recommend it if you're going to write a children's book is to read it to children. I mean, the younger
Good idea.
grandkids, we sat there and read this to them. And because, that's the way I would find out if a book was good. It was just, well, Abby, I did this on a whole bunch because I'd order all those books and I'd bring them home. and you can see if it's going to work when you're reading them out loud to children. So I would read them to her, the books I ordered, and see if they would work at story time. But yes, I'd be glad to do that, Suzanne. And I would, and I recommend, reading it to kids, reading it to the age level that you're trying to hit.
I would want Abby to read it as well, being a granddaughter. She would have her own thoughts, I think, about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
see, I've grown up with Abby because she was maybe 1 or 2 when I started at the
Yeah.
library.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're a teenager now.
No.
Me neither.
Christina, what are you gonna do when
Me
you go to
neither.
college?
I
When do
know.
you start driving?
Soon in June.
Let me know so I can stay off the road. Just kidding.
I'm good.
Just
She's a
kidding.
driver. She even drove through Austin yesterday, like on 35 and everything.
That's good. It's good to know how to do that. So I'm just joking. I had 3 sons that I went through with all that. So, oh, that's exciting.
It is very exciting.
I have a question for you guys. What's your favorite page of the book?
Well, my favorite page is the one is the not the back cover actually, but this and actually Seda gave me the original of this one. Now it's time to go to sleep
Oh,
because and I
wow.
think it's because I drive over that bridge so much in Cypress Creek when on my way home. So that is definitely, and I thought about that answer because she told me she asked me what original I'd like. So it's in the library right now. It's framed in the library, but she gave that to me. So that was really nice.
I really like her style of illustrating. It's really, it's nice. Some illustrators you don't really, you don't have a connection with, but hers were nice. And I think they fit the tone of the book really well.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, that's nice. Mhm.
It reminds me of this one time. We went out on the golf course because we live on the golf course, and we caught a bunch of lightning bugs in a mason jar, and we poked holes in the top of the mason jar so they could breathe. And I was staying the night, and we put the mason jar in your room. And I woke up in the middle of the night and there was just lightning bugs. They all escaped the jar. So there was like lightning bugs just flying across the room.
How did that happen?
And at that point, I was just too tired to get up and do anything about them. So yeah, lightning bugs bring out a special memory for Abby and I.
That's sweet.
About it with the. But there's something I was going to say about the illustrations. Something else. Oh, I can't remember a thought if it comes back out. But yeah, the illustrations are important. And I had thought about using photographs too at one point because originally I had gone to photography school, but so many children's books with photographs, I feel like they're trying to stretch the text to meet the picture, and they never seem to quite work. So that I just think illustrations, and now I have to say I'm very disappointed that so many of the illustrations nowadays are done in they're computer generated, and they're just not as nice. They're just not as well done as the nice watercolors that are there. See if I have any. Does anybody else have any more questions or it's one disappointment, I guess, has been, like, Carolyn was saying, we haven't had any real book signings because of COVID. And we hope to be able to still do that. And, I might be able to go read in the school at the end of the year, and they're trying to get that worked on so I could go in now that I'm vaccinated. But I had thought that I could go to the schools and do story times, which I have not been able to do, but that will come. But you have to think about if you're going to, promotion too. Promotion is a big part of getting a book out there and getting people to buy it, because people do tend to buy more when you're sitting there and selling it, and when it's more impulsive that way, I guess. And people love having them signed, and people have bought them at shops and then contacted me later and come over my house and had them signed. But I will sell them to anyone from the house. They just contact me, and we really like selling them from the house the best, because we make the most profit. And I'm glad people want to come by and buy them here. I'm glad to do that.
Did your promotion on Facebook, what do you feel like that was beneficial?
Oh yeah, that's another thing I did with my sister Chris, who really helped me set up the Facebook.
That's why I asked that.
I'm not that literate about that, and I'm sure I could do, if I was more of a techie, I could do more promotions that way. But that helped. We have that Facebook page where all you have to do is buy, and it takes you right to the bookshop. So that yes, definitely.
That reached people that I wouldn't have expected. I had a lot of close friends. I had several close friends that bought the book. I even had a couple of clients that bought the book because I had shared it, and
that's
just
neat.
Like to support. So like there was like definitely a broader reach than if you hadn't done that.
Which is nice. Yeah. Well, even the architect, someone from the architect team bought a copy of her book the other day.
Yeah, that was fun.
And the thing about Facebook too is when people share it, it gets wider distribution.
Right.
It's not just about having the page, it's getting people to share your page across some of the other platforms, and then in Monica's case, sharing them across local platforms that people are going to see and get aware of the book.
Now, can I ask you something?
And I want to say one thing. I am very proud of my little sister, baby sister.
That's sweet.
Can I ask you something, Chris? I didn't know we could have a Facebook page, just because I've written many books but never have promoted them. So I would only just share on Facebook, and people would like it. What you're talking is about an individual Facebook page?
Yeah, she has a Facebook page that's the Goodnight Wimberley page.
You just go on Facebook and go to just Google Goodnight Wimberley, and it'll come up with the page. It's a business page, and so I don't post a lot, but I post, like, I posted that this was coming up. And then it also has a button. It says buy now. It brings you directly to the publisher's page, and all they have to do is hit that button and they can buy a copy of the book.
So how did you create that? Because I have my website that operates like that, but nobody ever visits your website, why?
Yeah.
So how did you create that Facebook page?
Well, Chris, first I took, you can Google everything now. And I sat and watched this video a few times on how to do it. And then Chris helped me because she's done it for master naturalists and stuff. I could do a lot more on it. You can boast, you can buy ads and boast your post.
Boost.
Yeah. Boost the post. I haven't done that much. I guess. But
it's easy to set up though, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad hard. I don't really like doing that kind of stuff, so I don't. So
I don't think it helped Monica that much in her case, because it goes to all sorts of people, and you got to limit the scope of people you boost it to, or else you'll be sending thousands of it out to people who have no chance of being in your market. So if you can limit your market right and then boost it, it's okay. The better thing is to get your friends to either post it on their Facebook page,
Like it,
or
love it.
get somebody to post it on one Wimberley Valley or things like that, or any other pages. In your case, Lee, to getting somebody to post it on some meditation sites might be good, you know, some meditation Facebook pages if there are some, you know, but it's something where you think your audience is. You can get it to those, to be shared with those kinds of pages. It's good.
One great thing that happened for Abby and us, and this was just a big surprise, is that Bluehole decided to do that story walk.
Yes.
I knew nothing about that. Chris called me and congratulated me, and I'm what is it about? And they chose Goodnight Wimberley, and that really helped get the word out about the book. That was great, and we also, you know, I got it in the Wimberley View, but then one Saturday morning I read in the Statesman this woman who had written a children's book. So I thought, you know, what do I have to lose? This is my new thing now that I'm old. I'm thinking, you know, I used to worry, but I thought, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to send her an email and see if she'll take up this story. And she wrote me back within an hour and interviewed Abby and I and put it in the Austin American Statesman. I was amazed. But there's also something, you know, there's a Texas, I was approached to go to a Texas book festival thing and bring the book, but it was canceled because of COVID. So we might do that this fall if that becomes available. But, you know, you do this out of love, not out of trying to make money, because, you know, if you go to spend the night in a hotel and stuff, there's no way I'm going to make up that much money in sales. You know, so it's done or because you want to do teach a message. You know, if you're trying to teach, like Suzanne, your book is about kind of teaching a message for children, that they can take the best of both grandmas, and they can be part of both, you know. So, you know, if you want to get a message out, but it's not I mean, unless you become Dr. Seuss or, you know, classic like that, it's not a real money making.
Have you been to Zweida's house to read it, or are they allowing people in?
I don't think they're allowing people in. I really haven't pursued that this year because of all this COVID.
Maybe they are now that things have loosened up.
Yeah, I should go there, because well, I like doing story times anyway.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. Another just to mention on the story walk, Monica mentioned the story walk. Have you checked, Monica, to see if they're changing it again? Because one of the problems is I think they lost the person who was doing it at Bluehole.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd love the library to get back involved in that and do it. And I'd love the library to have it. I heard that there's some schools in Austin that are doing it, and they find that getting the kids outside is really a good thing. Getting them to read, but also be outside is a very good thing. And on a post-COVID, it's still going to be a good thing.
You know, Chris, I go to Bluehole every day, and they did have other books. And right now they have something that looks like a Black History Month. Yeah. You know, biographies. And I'm sorry, and I'm not biased because it's you, but yours was the only one I liked. It's not that I liked it the best. The only one I liked, the only one that was appropriate for children. Exactly. They need to have someone who understands what a story walk has to be, a book with only a few words and a lot of pictures. So that you could discuss it with the toddlers that are running around there. And, you know, I was so excited when I brought my grandsons there, because the 7-year-old was just learning to read, and he was so excited because he could read almost every page. And then he could read it to the 5-year-old. But, you know, and a part of the reason he could probably read it so well too was because we read it to him.
He was remembering it.
But it was so exciting. This is the first time I saw him read that much. You know, that was really fun. But I'm hoping that the library has a story walk on the playground. And to me, it's so easy, because when I first started doing story time, another librarian told me, look, you only need like about 24 story times, because every other year you have a whole new audience. So you just need about 24 books to get laminated and ready for your story walk, and change them out once a month. It's a great display. It's just a good, it's a wonderful, I wish as a children's librarian I had thought of it. I thought the story walk was perfect.
Well, I think we could really do it once we start expanding over there and we have more of that land, and hopefully that trail that they're trying to get in. That would be neat.
It would be.
Yeah, and Carolyn, I'd like to work with you as the Master Naturalist Outreach Education Chair. I'd like to make sure we get a lot of nature books there.
Oh yeah.
And also nature books into Blue Hole, because the Black History Month it's not Black History Month again anymore, and they were supposed to be changing it every month. And I think nature books are what we need to be there, and finding kids nature books. I was helping Emily before she left. Providing her some lists.
Who left that was doing it? Should I contact them and see?
I'd contact Richard Shaver and see what he's doing. But Emily was advising them.
She was? Okay.
She was. And so you've had turnover, and Blue Hole's had turnover. And I'm not sure what the situation is, but it appears to me that something's fallen in a hole, which
is
happens
Richard
when you
Shaver
get turnover.
with Blue Hole?
Yeah, he's the director.
Oh, okay.
Contact Richard, and he'll know who on his staff is doing that. And if find out what the situation is. Find out if he needs help finding books, because you guys are in the better position to say these are some good books.
Yeah.
And books about nature is what you really want there. And there are some excellent ones. So, and I can help with finding those because I'm working on finding those myself. So if you want some recommendations, I can work on those.
And
I'll get in touch.
Chris and Carolyn, I mean, if you want to, I offer to just give you one of the books. It's not for sale, but it's pretty enough to where it would look very nice as a picture book. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's see it. We'll take it.
You want me to show it to you right now, or?
Oh, I don't know if Monica wants that or not, but I'd love for you to contact me.
I will.
Does anyone else have any other questions about our process or anything that we could help you with?
I have a question. Hi, guys. Neither of you sounds particularly interested in continuing being an author. So what sort of things do bring you joy or interest you? I know most people probably know Monica in the room and the things she does in town, but yeah, what brings you, both of you, joy?
Like I said earlier, art. I do like hand lettering and calligraphy. And then I also do I paint and draw and all of it. Yeah.
And Monica, it's quilting, if everybody knows.
Well, I've been enjoying quilting a lot lately. Yes. If I was younger, I would write more picture books, because I think that it is. I just love reading to young children. First impressions are so big with young children. I mean, when I was a preschool teacher, I always wanted to do one on hand washing that had a rhyme to it. And I have other ideas back in there but at this point, I don't want to invest all the money and the time promoting it and at this point in my life, because, if I was 30, it'd be different. But it to really be out there and to really be selling books, it takes a lot. To be a known author, you have to be promoting yourself all the time, traveling from town to town, and so that's not what I want to do now.
Well, you could do like Margaret Atwood, who refused to travel but remodeled a whole room in her house in Canada as a studio.
I don't know if Jeff would let me do that.
I didn't know that, Ray Dawn. I didn't know that about Margaret Atwood. That's interesting.
Yeah, she's a character.
Yeah, she's definitely. But Monica, first of all, young is relative. Write all you want. Come on.
It is relative.
I'm dying to see the hand washing book, because when we talked months ago, it was even more relevant. But I love seeing everyone on the call, and I'm hearing room, the title of this is local author. And it just seems in the way that there is the vibrant art community in Wimberley, that there would be an opportunity for sort of a local authors. I mean, there's Texas Book Festival every year that gathers folks together.
Oh, Ray Don, there is a group of authors that meets here at the library.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to, are you an author? Would you want to be a part of that, or are you just mentioning it?
I'd be happy to be a part of it. I was thinking more of a, for like an annual, literary festival type of thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'd love to.
I'll let them know.
Shoot me the info.
Okay.
Tony, did you have a question?
Well, I'm just soaking all this in. It's just amazing that people can really do what, people like me have thought about doing, but people really doing it is a whole nother ballgame. So I'm really happy for you that you were able to accomplish that in the time that you were allotted.
Yeah. Well, it took, from the time, well, not from the time I got the idea, but from the time we really started working on it, it took about 4 years.
That's quite a long
And I
time.
heard about it a long time before that.
Yes.
We talked about writing a book my entire life, so it's just been really neat to watch it come to fruition.
I know that is true. My high school friend, she came and did the story walk, and she said, Monica, ever since I've known you, since I was 15, she said, you have always wanted to write a children's book.
Oh,
So, yeah, that is true. But I couldn't have done it without my partner here.
Yeah, your dream came true, and then your granddaughter can follow in those footsteps if she wants to. She's already a heads up, over a lot of kids her age.
Exactly.
And she's also got some.
Oops.
Good.
You froze.
what happened?
She froze. She was saying something and she froze.
Yeah.
I said she wrote a book, and now she can put it on her college application.
Exactly.
You need to do that though, Abby. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I was talking to some of my teachers. I was like, I'm not going to be here on Thursday. I have this little book talk for my book because I'm a published author. They thought it was really funny.
It's true though.
It really is true.
So that's the self-publishing journey that we took. So I mean, I guess you could try to sell your script to I knew this would never sell to a publisher because it's just too local. There wasn't even a thought in my mind that it could happen that way.
What stores down on the square do you have them in?
Camaway, the River House,
Moon
Goddess.
Yeah.
And then they're at Ace, and they're at King Feed, and they have.
I didn't know you had them at Ace and King Feed. That's good.
Yeah, they, when King Feed had them up front, they were selling really well. Now they're kind of in the back with the toys, and so they've really slowed down.
Okay.
But we'll just see. I think they're great baby presents. Like if anybody goes to a baby shower in Wimberley, I think this is a hot item for a baby shower in Wimberley, or a 1-year or 2-year-old, 3-year-old birthday.
I have to remember that.
They're really good. They're really good for that. Oh, and they're also at the Wimberley Stitch Studio. She sells them for me.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice because she doesn't charge any commission. She just does it as a friend.
Right.
So that's a good place to buy them.
Another idea, have you thought, and this is the only place I put mine, of the mailbox, the mail stop?
Oh, mail stop.
Oh.
Because everybody goes there, and I mean, it was not my intention at all. I went to buy a card and I see this children's book actually, and
and what is her? I used to know her. I can't remember her name.
I see her in my head, but I can't get it either.
Yeah, she's one of the first people I ever knew in Wimberley. We were on the Booster Club.
Monica, I'll send you her information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't want to keep you guys unless you have any more
Thank you.
Any more questions? I thank you all for being here.
Well,
I have one. Yeah.
Okay.
And on those lines, I have one comment for you, Abby. My grandchildren have 3 favorite books. They're The Sneetches, Are You My Mother by P.D. Eastman, and Goodnight Wimberley.
Aw,
You're in good company.
that was nice.
I mean, that is really heartwarming when people tell me that I was working at the quilt shop the other day. I just help out there occasionally. And this woman said, you know, when she found out it was my book, she said, she kind of had the sense, she said, my grandkids love this book. And there is no other, that because it was written for that, you know, to catch that age. I was trying to catch that rhythm.
You did it. You did it. That's great.
It's my favorite compliment.
It might be because they enjoy watching their grandfather get choked up.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Abby.
Thank you, Monica.
And, you know, contact us anyway if you'd like have any more questions. Feel free. You can just message us on that on Facebook at Goodnight Wimberley. And Susan, we'd love to read your book.
Monica, the library can sell your book too if you want to look into if you want to do that.
Okay, I will. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.